Hello and welcome to round 4 of the FRS Dirt Rally Championship. This time the drivers are looking to steer clear of the hidden rocks as they race between the autumn trees here in New England, USA. With a third of the season gone, it's Rick C 137 with an extremely comfortable lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship, 105 points ahead of Ettore. Booth, Fraser and Jabber are closely matched in 3rd, 4th and 5th place, with Jams, Truth, Timalele, False 12, Dante and Van on Base making up the rest of the top 10. Let's get straight into the action then, and it was a lovely clear start to the rally for stage 1, Cold Valley Sprint forwards. This one not the most challenging stage that the drivers will face all season, a couple of hairpins thrown in there for good measure. And as has often been the case this season, it was Fraser who set the early pace in stage 1. The Ford Fiesta driver going fastest with a stage time of 3 minutes and 9 seconds. All 27 drivers made it to the end of stage 1, though I wouldn't describe them all as unscathed in the process, and it was the usual suspect up towards the top of the timesheets, with one notable absentee. Ettore made a fairly critical error on the first stage, costing him 17.5 seconds to the leaders, as we can see here.
Whoa! Good.
Water temperature is getting really high. The engine. Is that a puncture on the left rear?
The engine damage not proven to be too costly in subsequent stages, but a less than ideal start for the man in 2nd place in the championship.
Whoa.
6 right long. And keep left of a crest. 50.
Elsewhere, Pretend Soda was busy discovering that not all of the signposts are breakable. Championship leader Rick C 137 was only able to set the 3rd fastest time, but was still within 5 seconds of Fraser, Jabber, Booth and Cookie making up the rest of the top 5. On to stage 2, and those clear conditions didn't last long. Not only was the night setting in, but the rain was here as well. And as sure as night follows day, Rick C was back to the top of the timesheets in stage 2, going fastest of all by less than a tenth from Ettore, with Fraser in 3rd. The Peugeot driver has won every rally so far and was once again looking like the man that everybody was going to have to beat. Season 1 champion Cookie was also off to a strong start in the Volkswagen Polo, going 4th fastest in stage 2 to leave him P5 in the rally. The Polish driver has shown flashes of pace so far this season, but has been prone to costly errors, and he'll be hoping to avoid the same fate here in New England. Ettore recovered well from that mishap in stage 1 to finish 2nd in stage 2, less than a tenth off Rick C's time. In the overall standings, Fraser still had the lead from his American rival, with Jabber, Booth and Cookie making up the rest of the top 5, just 7.7 seconds between them all. Stage 3 and North Fork Pass was the first long stage and the first night stage of this Rally of the USA. That being said, there weren't too many problems for the front runners. Booth found some time relative to his rivals in the top 5 by clocking the 3rd fastest time here in stage 3. Though this longer stage really started to produce a bit of a gap between Rick C and Fraser and the rest of those in the top 5. There was another mistake from Ettore which cost him around 21 seconds to the lead group. While in the midfield group, False 12, Hummersep, Hercules, Pretend Soda and myself were all split by around 8 seconds as that midfield fight continued to rage on. At the front, Rick C gained 4 seconds back on Fraser, while we lost Boki from the rally at this stage to add to MJ Povey, who we'd lost in stage 2. So Rick C topping the timesheets again in stage 3 from Fraser, Booth, Cookie and Jabber, these 5 continuing to set the pace. And that near enough 4 second swing gave Rick C the lead of the rally from Fraser. The gap at the front less than 2 seconds as we went into stage 4, which wasn't a night stage but was still dusk, meaning dark and gloomy conditions and headlights were a must. This one the reverse of stage 2 where Rick C had set the pace in the Peugeot, and it was the championship leader who set the pace once again here. The American gained around 2 seconds on Fraser and even more on the chasing pack, as the front two continued to build a real gap back to those in 3rd, 4th and 5th place. By the end of stage 4, the top 5 drivers had built a gap of 30 seconds back to anybody else in the field, so the race was on to really be best of the rest. Black and Gold 56 took that honour in stage 4 with the time within 10 seconds of Rick C's. The Volkswagen Polo driver was languishing a bit down in 18th, but this was by far his best stage performance. Elsewhere, Ettore had another stage to forget, losing another minute and 22 to the leaders, while AWD Turbo Guy crawled around almost 5 minutes off the pace. The consistency being shown by the top 5 really providing a lack of variety to these leaderboards. This time Rick C, Fraser, Cookie, Jabber, Booth was the order. In the overall standings it was Rick C, Fraser, Jabber, Booth, Cookie. Less than 20 seconds splitting them all. However, a critical error from Booth in stage 5 saw him retire from the rally, leaving the door wide open for anybody in the midfield to try and claim a place in the top 5. And it was Dan who took full advantage. The British driver struggled for pace in the early part of this rally, but finally came good in stage 5 to finish 5th overall in the stage, narrowly clear of Timolele and Hercules. That group slightly ahead of the bulk of the midfield fight at this point, featuring Jams, Truth, Haringzord, False 12, Dante, Garley and Brad Spit at this point. Ettore continued his good stage, bad stage vibe with another good one here in the Citroën. We can ride on board with him now.
Stay middle over 200.
God damn it.
6 right, opens of a big jump, 80. Middle of a jump, 50. 5 left of a crest long. 120, slow turn, tight hairpin right, don't cut, 80. Turn unseen, tight hairpin left.
Oh, that was a pretty slow 50.
Behind the top 5, the fight in the midfield was as close as ever. Timolele was beginning to build a gap to the biggest fight in the midfield, and in this stage Hercules set the fastest time of those in that fight. Behind Hercules there was about 5 seconds separating Jams Truth in 8th place and Garley in 13th. Towards the back of the field, Hugh Sam was limping around with a very damaged Ford Fiesta, clocking a time 4 minutes and 35 seconds slower than Rick C on this stage. And as well as Booth, Black and Gold 56 was another casualty on this stage, retiring with terminal damage. So a mere 0.3 of a second separating Ettore from Rick C, but Ettore not really a factor for the victory, still almost 2 minutes behind. In the overall standings, Booth's retirement allowed Jams Truth to pop up into the top 5, just shy of a minute off Rick C's overall pace. Fraser still second, Jabber third and Cookie fourth. Stage 6 was another evening one, this one the forward route of the Beaver Creek Trail, clocking in at a little shy of 8 miles. Those with damage would have to struggle through this one without headlights, though it wasn't impossible to do so. But towards the front, Timolele was starting to show really strong pace, getting up into the top 5 in stage 6 for the first time in the Rally of USA. Ettore, meanwhile, had another one to forget, finishing with the 16th fastest time in stage 6 out of just 19 runners remaining. The Brit losing around 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Whoa!
This barrel roll causing a double puncture and costing a bunch of time to repair.
Something doesn't feel right at the rear. Is it a puncture?
Oh,
6 right, opens, keep middle of a crest.
I did not need this. I did not need this.
150.
Up at the front, Fraser was on a mission to claw back the lost time to Rick C and set the fastest time in stage 6 by a full 4 seconds. The German wiping out near enough 75% of Rick C's lead in the course of this stage alone. So Fraser quickest, Jabber set another very competitive time to consolidate 3rd place overall, while Dan continued to find pace, though was still languishing down in 12th overall. The gap between the top two now reduced to just 1.4 seconds with 3 stages to go. This one was all to play for as we went into stage 7. And that stage was the Buller Mountain Descent, another night stage, but everyone having the benefit of the service area at the end of stage 6 to repair headlights. One man grateful for that was Popsicle, who was slowest of all by the end of stage 7, though was at the very least still running in the rally. The Australian has already racked up a few retirements so far this season, so we're just looking to make it to the end of this one. Back to that fight for a spot in the top 5, and Brad's pit was beginning to play himself into contention. The German driver finishing 6th in this stage despite this little mishap. Lots of drivers still pushing hard, and this incident really highlighting the risks of New England. A lot of those hidden rocks in the long grass catching drivers out. Still, the Volkswagen driver stuck the dismount and was able to continue, moving himself up to P6 in the overall standings by the end of stage 7. The biggest surprise of all in stage 7 was me, managing to claim a place in the top 5 for the first time ever. Though it has to be said, I was perhaps a little fortunate. Oh, there's a rock there, hello.
Gate and turn 1 right. Opens through narrow gate and turn 1 left. Opens 200. 4 right, extra long.
That rock, if we'd been unlucky, could have killed us there. Just half a second between Rixey and Fraser at the end of this one, meaning it was still impossibly close. There's also nothing I can do about the fact I'm highlighted in red. I swear it's not a vanity project. A really poor stage for Jabba saw him lose over 1.5 minutes and grant 3rd place to Cookie. It also promoted Timalele to 4th and Jamstruth up to 5th. Stage 8 was straight back up the hill we'd all just come down, but in slightly more daytime-esque conditions. Headlights still required. And it was Fraser who threw down the gauntlet to Rick C, setting the fastest time in stage 8, 3.3 seconds faster than the championship leader. Fraser, along with Ettore when he's not upside down, have provided the most consistent challenge to Rick across the course of the season so far, and this was looking like a real opportunity for someone else other than the American to take a rally victory this season. After Jabba's issues in stage 7, Cookie was looking nailed on for 3rd place, though across the past 3 stages had started setting times that were 10th and 11th quickest rather than 3rd and 4th quickest, which was beginning to open the door to Timalele and Jamstruth to have a sniff of a podium. Cookie's previous best result this season was 4th place in Argentina, so the defending champion was really keen to get a podium to try and kickstart his campaign. Torre was 2nd quickest, and while it was a minor footnote in the overall fight for 1st place, he would still be hoping to pick up some additional points with a good performance in the upcoming power stage. The fight for the final podium place is still interesting, but all eyes are on the top 2 with just 1.5 seconds between Fraser and Rixey 137. The question going into the final stage, and a long stage at that, was whether the championship leader could finally be toppled and this season-long winning streak brought to a close. You'll be getting used to this by now, but the final stage of the rally is, as always, the power stage. An additional 25 points available to the winner of this stage, 15 championship points for 2nd place, and 10 points for 3rd. And there were plenty of drivers pushing really hard to try and get those points.
100, turn 3 left.
Whoa, there we go. There we go. And over and out.
Turn 3 left uphill.
23-second penalty. Whoa. That mistake from me, a minor one in the grand scheme of things. This one from Garley, considerably worse.
Jump milieu, 50 mètres, gauche 5 sur ciel long.
A double puncture on the left-hand side of the car for the Frenchman, costing him 2.5 minutes right at the end of this rally. It could have been worse though, with Pretend Soda an absolute shoe-in for the most heartbreaking DNF of the season award, possibly the most heartbreaking DNF of all time.
6 right to stop.
The clip he sent me of that, simply titled FML. On to the fight at the front, and Fraser was right on the limit as you would expect, going for glory, though a couple of mistakes through the run cost him around 10 seconds, leaving the door wide open for Rick C. And sure enough, the championship leader took full advantage, setting the fastest time of all in stage 9 to confirm his win in the Rally of USA and 4 in a row, as well as the additional championship points for the power stage. The American has been absolutely rapid and fully deserves this run of success, though it'll be a heartbreaking one for Fraser to have run him so close. Ettore continued his good form at the end of the rally to pick up second place in the power stage and the additional 15 points to come with that, and that was good enough to move him up to 7th in the overall standings, with Rick C winning the rally from Fraser and Cookie, the pole just hanging on to 3rd place by 1.5 seconds from Timalele in the end. Jamstruth and Brad Space also having strong rallies here. Outside of the top 10, Lifebot was 11th, Hercules fell back to 12th in the end with some late damage. Dante, Van on Base, Moon Dingo and Popsicle were the other finishers, while Jabba retired in the end after looking so strong early doors. Pretend Soda retired so heartbreakingly close to the finish line, while Dan and Booth also failed to make it to the end. The other retirees, Hugh Sam, Black and Gold 56, Voki and MJ Povey. The championship standings for you, Rick C now with a 165 points lead over anybody else. Ettore with a bit of a gap back to Fraser after Fraser's DNF in Finland, while it's close behind Jamstruth now at the 4th, Timalele, Booth and Jabba not too far behind at all. False 12, Haringzord and Dante rounding out the rest of the top 10. Right, time to plug stuff, and my Twitch channel listed on the left hand side along with my YouTube channel, which I imagine you've already found. Anything related to FRS can be found via the links on the right hand side, with the current Formula 1 season just getting underway. Other than that, once again, thank you for watching. We will be back next time in New Zealand.